All right, good morning. It's the Monday Morning Show. Today on the show, we have a very special guest. Ladies and gentlemen, comedian Bobby Slayton. Bobby, how's it going?
That's my whole introduction. You couldn't do better than this. How long have you been? I've been making more show busy. You know, you've seen him on Showtime, HBO. I mean, I don't have to go through all my credits now, but I thought you'd be like, comedian Bobby Slayton. You know how many comics are out there? Comedians who play cruise ships, who have done nothing, who have, I don't know. Nobody comics. I'm not that I'm a somebody comic, but I'm in between. I think nobody and somebody. You've seen him in Woody Allen's new TV show. Something make more show busy, but it's too late for that.
Well, I was going to get to some of the movies.
You were you? Okay,
yeah.
Well, all right, well, you've already let down your imaginary listeners big time, so it's all downhill from there. So I'll just go along with whatever you want to ask.
All right, well, you recently just were working on a film, right?
Yep.
What film was that?
Well, no, it was a Woody Allen movie. Woody Allen's new movie, and I don't know what the movie's called. He doesn't tell you anything really. Woody is very secretive. Unless you're one of the main stars, you don't even get to see the whole script. He sends you your scene, which is watermarked with your name on it in case it gets out.
Yeah.
You get fired, I imagine. And so Woody's pretty secretive about his little projects and big projects. So, but I'm just happy to be part of it because he's an amazing guy to work for. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a TV show, right, coming out.
No, it's a TV show and a movie.
Oh.
He did a TV series for Amazon called, if you have Amazon Prime, called Crisis in 6 Scenes. It was only 6 episodes. His first TV show he ever did, and it did not get great reviews. But I liked it, maybe because I'm in it, or maybe because I love Woody Allen so much, or maybe because I enjoy the cast. But it seems like Woody is always raked over the coals and looked at with under a microscope all the time because, his body of work has been so scrutinized for years because he's done so many great movies, and then people just expect great stuff out of him all the time.
Yeah. All right, so you started off as a comedian. Do you remember your first time doing stand-up?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember, was it an open mic?
God, it's a long time ago, and I even have it on tape, which I should probably destroy, because a cassette tape to show you how, I don't know if they make cassette players anymore if I wanted to listen to it.
Yeah.
But it was pretty brutal. I mean, I heard it a couple of years ago. I mean, I did it it was 40 years ago,
Yeah.
And there was a big comedy boom going on in the 70s and then through the 80s. There's a few books about it. There's a TV show coming out, might be out already, called I'm Dying Up Here. There's a few books written about the whole comedy boom. So I was lucky to start out when that was going on. So there were a lot of clubs opening up around the country. So I had a lot of opportunities to get good or bomb because there were places to do it. It's tougher now, I think. But the first time was there's a little club called the Holy City Zoo, which recently closed the last few years. But it wasn't a comedy club. They had a comedy night. And they had professional comedy night on Sunday and open mic comedy night on Tuesday. And you get there, you sign in. It doesn't matter how early you got there. Even if you're the first guy signing in, the guy running it, Tony DePaul, he lorded over the whole place, and he decided when you would go on. And it was a teeny club, and maybe 50, 60 seats. And Robin Williams would come in and play all the time, and it was the epicenter of comedy in San Francisco during that comedy boom in the 70s. It became a full-time comedy club later. But, I went on. I did my 5 minutes, and it went well considering I was 21 years old.
Yeah.
And considering I never did it before, and considering I never really watched a lot of comedy. Comics today, and really for the last 25 years, have a template of comedy because all these shows have been on television. There's from Evening at the Improv to Comic Strip to there's a million Showtime, HBO, and Showtime and Apollo, and there's a million specials now that comics can just watch and kind of see how to do it and see who they want to be like. And I didn't really watch that much of it when I was younger. I mean, it was out there, but I wasn't really into comedy. I would watch, the Johnny Carson show and, during the day, the Merv Griffin show, maybe after school. But, so, it wasn't something I really wanted to pursue. It's just something I did on a whim. realized I could get on stage and upset people and make them laugh and eventually get paid, I go, this is a great job. I don't have to wear a name tag, and I can tell customers to fuck off. So it was not a lot of jobs you could do that. I said, this is for me. I got to make this work.
Yeah.
40 years later, I kind of did. I'm on your show. How much bigger can I be?
Yeah. So you just continued to keep doing stand-up and just got better at it?
Yeah, you get better at anything if you keep doing it. I mean, I really think it was something I was kind of meant to do. There are a lot of people who are just natural comedians. There's a lot of guys working today, Dave Chappelle, Bill Burr, Louis C.K. But there's a lot of people you see that are, just got into it. There's something, and most people can't tell, but not that they're not good, but there's some people who just became comics because they couldn't get jobs as actors, or they, whatever. For whatever reason, they got into it.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody can get into stand-up comedy. It's just making a living at it. It's one thing that, not everybody can get into politics or baseball because you got to get drafted, you got to get elected, you got to get, you got to pass tests to become a cop. And if you become a comic, you don't really have to pass any test except to make people laugh.
Yeah.
And you just got to be able to get up there and do it. So it's the kind of job where the competition is fierce, but you don't need a license or a diploma,
yeah.
or anything like that to do it. So there's something, in a way, easy about doing it, and it's also one of the hardest jobs in the world because, like I said, anybody could do it, but just being good at it, I think, takes a lot of work.
How did you get the nickname, the Pitbull of Comedy?
I was hoping you wouldn't ask me that. People ask that every time I do an interview.
Oh, we could skip it if you want.
No, it was just because Pitbulls were big in the 70s, and I was on a radio show, and I did a joke about McDonald's, and I lost the radio station a big account. And Alex Bennett, who was one of the guys who really was an important radio pioneer, I mean, Howard Stern even listened to him when he was growing up. Alex was a big pioneer, and I was one of the first comics he had on his show, and I brought on Robin and Dana Carvey and Kevin Pollak. And so I lost him a big account. And he said, you're like a pit bull. You bite the hand that feeds you. We put you on the radio. And so I sort of became the Pitbull of Comedy. And every time somebody asks me that, every time, and it's at least once a month, I go, I got to stop using that name. Another Pitbull who's making more money at it than I am. Let him have it. I don't need it anymore.
I kind of figured that it was because of your style of comedy.
Well, it kind of is. The Pitbull kind of attack and not let go. But, I mean, it just so happened that Alex gave me the name while I was on the radio. And back then, I didn't have any TV credits. Now you can say, oh, you've seen him in The Tonight Show. You've seen everybody's got a TV credit now. But back then, I didn't really have any TV credits. And, so it was like the Pitbull of Comedy kind of stuck.
Yeah.
I think it was when I did my first Young Comedian special, my one and only, back in the 80s. That introduction for me. So I just called me the Pitbull of Comedy. And I think that's where it kind of caught on. I don't even remember anymore. And more important, I don't care.
How did you make the transition from comedian to actor?
Well, again, most comics are pretty good actors. Now, I'm not saying great. I'm certainly not a great actor, but I think that it's a natural. You're predisposed to have that kind of, it goes hand in hand in a way. A lot of actors can't be comics, but a lot of comics turn out to be great actors. I mean, old famous Borscht Belt comics like Don Rickles and Red Buttons, who won the Academy Award. I mean, you see comics in a lot of classic TV shows and a lot of shows now. And Howie Mandel is a good actor, and he was originally stand-up. And Michael Keaton. I know some of these guys might have background training in college. I know a lot of comics, like Alan Havey, who's on Mad Men last year, one of my best friends, studied acting. So a lot of them kind of acted before they were comics in a way, I guess. But, I didn't really make the transition. I just, back in the 70s and 80s, they were putting a lot of comics in a lot of pilots. And I got a pilot with Richard Lewis. I got another pilot for Amy Heckerling who did Clueless and Fast Times at Ridgemont High. So, and a lot of comics just segue into it. Roseanne and, I don't have to tell you all of them, but my God, Kevin James and Tim Allen, a lot of guys.
Yeah.
A lot of guys I start out with. And here I am, none of them doing your podcast, so fuck all those guys.
Do you find it to be harder nowadays because people seem to be more sensitive?
Well, I've already made my mark, if you will, I think when I play comedy clubs and once in a while theaters, I'm doing a few theaters in January in Florida, I think people kind of know who I am and they've seen me before. And now people can go on YouTube and YouTube you and and see what you do. Although that can backfire too. People, those internet trolls love to go on and I remember somebody was on Opie and Anthony or some, I don't know, one of the Sirius XM shows, and all these assholes like to criticize and say things on Twitter and Facebook, and so I said, yeah, Slayton sucks. I saw him on YouTube. He's doing jokes from the '80s about McDonald's, and I look at the clip, and yeah, it's me from the '80s doing jokes about McDonald's. So it's like, God, thank you, but I don't let that bother me very much anymore. Much morons out there, and and they vote, as you know, and and that's why Jeff Dunham and his fucking puppet are so big. But that's what America wants. It really is it really is an incredibly stupid country, which is a shame.
Yeah, well, you hear about.
And we're really, huh?
Oh, sorry, I was gonna say you hear about comedians getting in trouble for saying certain things, like, and it just seems like people. It seems like a lot of people can't take a joke nowadays.
I was not one of the first guys. There's certainly guys way before me, like Pryor and Carlin and Lenny Bruce, and I'm not putting myself in that category, but I remember the 70s and 80s. I got a lot of shit. Before Sam Kinison and before Bill Hicks. And matter of fact, Bill Hicks was my opening act. I used to get a lot of crap because I was living in San Francisco, and there were gay comics making fun of straight people, and there was black comedy night, and they were making fun of white people. But when I did it, they'd get all pissed off, and they'd say, you can't do that. And I go, why? Because you're a minority? You could do it? I could do it. And I just dug in deeper, And so, I've been getting shit my whole life for saying things I'm not supposed to say, but I don't give a shit anymore,
Yeah. So
but,
you don't.
Wait.
Yep.
What's that?
I was gonna say you don't censor yourself then at all.
No. By the way, let me just get this in right now. Cunt, nigger. Let me just put that in for no reason. Okay. You want to cut it out? Go ahead, cut it out. I love when people do the N word. Just say nigger or don't say it. The C word. Just say cunt or don't say it.
Yeah.
The R word. Now they're saying the R word because you can't say retard, which would offend all the people who actually listen to your podcast. So, and if you get crap for that, those are the assholes I'm talking about that are politically. I can't believe you said that. A lot of times I say those things just to push buttons because people are more worried about you using the C word than about 39 people getting shot at an Istanbul nightclub. That's what you should be worried about. Trump's our president, you fucking retarded cunt, nigger, douchebag. That's what you should be worried about. Not some comedian using naughty words, okay?
Do you have any advice for new comedians then?
I get asked that question all the time. No, I have no advice because I certainly have not done things the proper way. And I would certainly be further along in my career if I didn't, shoot myself in the foot sometimes and get my own way at times, but you know what? Sometimes that proves to be a good thing. And right now, at 61 years old, I have a beautiful home and a beautiful girlfriend, and as of today, I seem to be in really great health, and I have a whole bunch of new jokes that I've worked on for the new year. And if people want more puppets, I don't give a shit because I have enough money in the bank, and I'm okay now. I will be good. So fuck everybody else. And Happy New Year to all.
Yeah. Okay, before I let you go, we have a part of the show called Questions from the Fans.
Oh, boy. I really have questions from the fans, or you make this shit up?
No, it's they send in some emails. And,
Okay.
If you don't mind, I'd like to read a few.
I don't mind. I have nothing to do right now. I'm perfectly happy. No, I don't mind whatsoever.
Okay.
Fire away, tough guy.
All right. First email is from Blake Chapman. Blake wants to know who is the best person you have ever worked with and who was the worst.
The best person I've ever worked with, I don't know if he means in stand-up comedy or in acting. As far as acting, everybody I've worked with who I hear horrible things about have actually been very, very cool to me. The best person I've worked with, that's really a tough question. I mean, I've worked with so many good people. I mean, as far as movies, I've worked with some great directors like Wes Craven and Amy Heckerling and the late Jimmy Comack and oh my God, so many great people and great actors and Woody Allen and I don't know. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And I've had so many great comics open up for me. But as far as the worst people, oh my God, that's really hard. the worst person I've ever worked with. Well, Kim Madonna was kind of a scumbag. He's a comedian that doesn't work very much anymore. He's in his 70s. Not a nice man, but I don't want to sit in bad mouth him. It's the kind of stuff he does. But it's too late now. I did it. All right, next question. Sorry, Blake. That's all I got for you, baby.
All right. Next email is from Chuck Weber. Chuck wants to know, how do you feel about people who steal other people's jokes?
That's a sore point for almost every comic. That's like telling a Holocaust joke to an Auschwitz survivor.
Yeah.
Maybe not quite as brutal. I'm exaggerating a bit, but it's horrible. And what's really, really horrible about it is there are guys that you hear the same stories about from the late Robin Williams, who was my friend, good friend, and I don't want to say anything bad about Robin, but he was known for taking some jokes. But I think with him, he was in a class by himself because his mind, you would tell him a joke and he would tell you the same joke 5 minutes later. It would go in one ear, out the other. It would somehow, go into his central nervous system and come out a minute later, a year later.
Yeah.
So I give him a pass, as Tony Soprano would say. But there are guys, the Carlos Mencias, who, again, I'm friends with. But there are guys who are known for stealing, and a lot of guys who have done that, and it's awful. And what most people, or a lot of people, don't understand, how, they go, when you talk about stealing and you go on the radio or whatever, and people call in and go, well, every comic, everybody steals. No, they don't. They don't. And Joan Rivers, and I think, maybe even the late Rodney Dangerfield, I know that if they try to sue people at one point for stealing jokes, and for some reason with stand-up comedy, you can't sue anybody. I don't know why. Maybe things have changed over the years, but if you steal 1 or 2 sentences from a book, it's plagiarism. If you steal more than 5 bars from a song, it's plagiarism. And if you steal, and it's happening. It happens all the time. But with stand-up comedy, for some reason you do people's now. Granted, we've all done the same jokes. We've all come up with the same stuff, and subliminally and subconsciously, every comic might have heard an opening act or a fellow comic do a joke, and then you do it. People do shit like that. But when you do it on a regular basis, which there are people that do it, it pisses me off to no end. Jay Leno, it never used to get under his skin because he said, well, I just write new jokes. I don't care.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't. I don't know if he did care, but Jay was a joke-writing machine for so long, so he's one of those guys that would just roll off his back. But, when I was a young comic, he had so much material, but a lot of us didn't. And stuff was just stolen all the time. It's part of the business. I guess there's nothing you can do about it.
Okay. Our last email is from Jose. Jose says, what's the craziest thing you did when you were younger?
The craziest thing that I did when I was younger? Oh, my God. There's so much shit. I know. When he says when I'm younger, I don't know if he means when I was a kid or when I was older.
Whatever comes to mind.
Oh, my God. I was doing... Oh, my God. I can't even remember so many stories. Actually nothing that crazy, but I do remember one night I was playing some comedy club in South Carolina or North Carolina. We were in a comedy condo, and some guy was leaving the next day, an Army Ranger to be, it might have been a Navy SEAL. Anyway, a tough guy going off to boot camp the next day, and was smoking dope in the condo, and he said, he had some fireworks or something, and he wanted to go throw fireworks at a police station across the street. And he said, I want to show you we sneak up on the enemy. And I was so stoned, I went out with him, and I didn't throw anything at the police department, but he threw like a Molotov cocktail. I go, whatever, this is fucking nuts. And I ran back in the condo and locked the door, and I said, listen, there was all these stories on the road, and, hookers, and who the fuck even remembers anymore? But you know what? It was nothing really bad. Throwing a Molotov cocktail at a police station, I wasn't involved with that, but
yeah.
For some reason I followed him outside, walked across the street. I thought he was kidding, but oh God, there were so many drug stories and getting drunk and I'm just shocked I'm still alive.
Yeah.
And I've calmed down a lot. I still do a bottle of wine every night with dinner, but my new girlfriend's got me doing yoga the last few weeks. So maybe I'm calming down in my old age. Maybe the pit bull's finally turning into a poodle. I don't know. It's okay. I deserve it. I need it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's all the questions I had. So, do you have any shows or anything coming up?
Yeah. but I'm just starting to go back to work. I just took 6 weeks off.
Okay.
And,
well, people can go to your website, right?
They could go to BobbySlayton.com, and they could see everything. There isn't much on there now, but I'm booking up stuff, especially in Florida. And then, whatever, I'm just waiting for the calls to pour in. People probably been trying to call me now, but, you're on the other line, so I'm probably missing a lot of work.
All right, well, I'll let you go then.
All right.
All right, thanks for coming on the show.
I'm glad we finally got to do this.
Yeah, and hopefully I can talk to you again sometime.
Okay. That sounds good to me. All right?
All right, thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Myself.